This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. One of the most, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, one of the more frustrating losses by the Rays this season. White Sox 30, let me say that again, 3-0, games under 500, come into Steinbrenner and, took it to the Rays. It's really the only way to put it. They dominated the Rays. This game was not competitive. It really was not. And it's incredibly frustrating because, again, it felt like the Rays played with no fight. It's like they got down 3 and it was like, oh, that's kind of the game. And, it went from bad to worse with Kim getting injured, Brandon Lau not in the lineup. Middle infield of Taylor Walls and Jose Caballero will not be sustainable going forward if the Rays want to make the playoffs. It is as simple as that. Honestly, a lot that could go wrong for the Rays went wrong for the Rays. So we're going to talk about how Shane Baz was not good at all, bad to worse with injuries, must win. And I very rarely use the word must wins in baseball, but man, does these next 2 games feel like must wins. And we're going to look ahead at those next 2 games. But first, we're going to talk about every single one of the missed opportunities that the Rays had and the Rays offense had in this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Let's see how shut down this White Sox pitching was. Burke, the starter, 4 walks. The White Sox as a staff, 7 walks from their pitching, 2 errors. So one of those errors was from Aranda to get from first to third in the first inning. But that was basically let Junior hit the first 2. So you got 9 free bases. How do you respond to that? By scoring 3 runs. That is embarrassing. Going 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position against the worst team in baseball it's not acceptable. It's as simple as that. Not acceptable. And I don't care. I don't want to hear stuff about Brandon Lau not being in the lineup. I don't want to hear stuff about some Kim being hurt. I don't care. The Rays should be good enough to take advantage in those spots. And it was everyone. Josh Lowe has had a few rough at-bats from runners in scoring position. He's in a 3 for 37 right now. Ever since that first kind of few weeks when he came back, he's been pretty bad since then. And I went into the whole thing on the expecting batting average, but right now he's hitting 160 in the month of July. He hit 239 in June, and he hit 321 in May. So after that May, where he hit 321 is what it was, he has just 30 hits in over 200 plate appearances. So a lot of the Rays struggles are, I'm not gonna put it on Josh Lowe, but man, if he was even half of what he was in that season, in that season where he was hit 290, 2020, this would be kind of a different Rays offense. And I think that's in him. Like, I really think he's due for a big week. And then if he's due for a big week, I think the Rays going to be due for a really big week with that. But man, this was a game where it was incredibly frustrating because, it would be first and second no outs, and Morel would put up one of the most horrific at-bats I've seen this season. And I've been the guy going to bat for Christian Morel to get more playing time. And his first 2 at-bats tonight, somebody's telling Christian Morel he does not have to swing the first pitch every single time he goes up there. And I've been the guy going to bat for him to play more. And, this is kind of what he puts out there. And again, I don't like picking on players, but those 2 specifically, Junior had also a really rough at-bat with runners in scoring position too. But, they can never get any momentum. It didn't help that Shane Baz had his worst outing of the year. He was really ineffective in this game. But, the thing the White Sox let the Rays come back in this game if they wanted to, and the Rays didn't take it. The Rays just let the game get passed by. And, there are still things to be optimistic about. Boston lost, so you didn't lose any traction. That would have been like the final gut punch if you would have lost the game in the wild card race because of this. If people are going to say it's all doom and gloom, they're going to sell all this stuff. The Rays are a game and a half out of a playoff spot right now with 60 games to go. Let's relax a little bit. It's okay to be frustrated about this game. I'm going to be frustrated with a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about, but big picture, it's okay. Like I said, 60 games left. The Rays are a game and a half back. Like, they are going to be fine in that aspect. But, there are some concerning things ever since the first game back from the break that, maybe this thing's figured out. And a lot of it has to do with this Rays lineup with Brandon Lau and Ha-Seong Kim, the lineup that you thought you were going to get with, Stimson, Lau, Brandon Lau, Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Ryan, Junior Caminero, Josh Lowe, Ha-Seong Kim, Danny Jansen, Chandler Simpson. I said him. I said him twice, didn't I? But anyway, you get the point. And Jake Mangum, we've gotten let's see, 18 innings is 2 games. We've gone 25 innings with that lineup, and it doesn't help when that's your lineup. That when Kevin Cash and Eric Naylor put together this team, they're going to say, okay, by July, they obviously didn't expect Chandler Simpson to be up, and maybe not even Jake Mangum, but we are really confident in these 7. And, the fact that they've only been able to run out those 7 together for those amount of innings, I think is obviously a massive problem. And, it's just a middle infield of Taylor Walls and Jose Caballero is not going to be sustainable offensively. It's going to be really good defensively, but that can only take you so far if they're both hitting sub 220, which they are. And, Taylor Walls ripped a double today. It was good. But consistently, he's not ripping a double in those situations. So, again, don't want to pile on too much with Taylor Walls in this lineup. But frustrating that the Rays basically 9 free passes. 8 of the 9 players got on base. And the one that hasn't is Chandler Simpson, who's now in an 0 for 10 streak. Aranda is in like a 1 for 14 right now. And then obviously we talked about Josh Lowe being like a 3 for 37 right now. But, you still can look at the positives. The bullpen's been really good. Outside of Shane Baz, the starting pitching has still been fine. Ryan Pepiot wasn't great yesterday, but, it's still been fine. So I really think that the Rays can come out tomorrow and kind of make a statement, be like, okay, guys, we're good. Drew Rasmussen's going tomorrow. He's been the Rays' best pitcher this year. Tomorrow's a big day for the Rays to get right. Tomorrow is a fantastic opportunity for a get right game. And, obviously we're going to talk about injuries later, but, Kim's out with back tightness. I don't expect him to play tomorrow. And I'm very optimistic that Brandon Lau could play tomorrow. So hopefully that he can. So we're going to talk more about Shane Baz. A lot to say about Shane Baz. More about those injuries and why we have a must-win last 2 games right after this. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you always talk to a real person. If your trade pros looking to get an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering HVAC, electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. And you guys know my favorite part about FanDuel is a different promotion. So one day they'll have a home run prop. So pick who you guys think is going to hit a home run, and they have a way to win extra money on it. Same thing with Nerfies, pitcher strikeout. So even though it's the quote-unquote dead time of the offseason, it's still really good to use. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Time to talk about Shane Baz. And if you guys are in the comments, make sure you guys leave in the live. Make sure you guys leave a comment. Comment if you guys agree with me. What do you guys think about Shane Baz? What do you guys think about this offense? Please let me know. Shane Baz, 4 innings, 8 hits, 8 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And a lot of it, man, I'm kind of surprised he only ended up with 2 walks because he was wild tonight. This was the most runs he's given up in a start this season, and you could kind of tell early, even though he kind of got out of the first inning a little shaky. And then right when we get the Steinbrenner special, 1 out of 30 park home run in the second inning for the 3-run home run, that one was brutal. But I didn't think it was a dagger. And the bases loaded because of 2 walks, that was brutal. That's when you knew Shane Baz wasn't right. That home run that he hit, it was an inside fastball. Just kudos to him. It's a really good swing. But him basically walking the bases loaded and then, having Luis Robert crank at 110-mile-an-hour single that scored 2, that's a problem. The reason why he cranked 110 is because he hung his knuckle curve right in the middle of the zone. So Shane Baz is a lot like Taj Bradley. It starts with their command. And if they're not commanding, they fall behind. They have to throw the fastballs, and that's what's going to lead us to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
After the Rays get a little bit of traction in the bottom of the 4th with the Wallace double, almost immediately Shane Baz gives up a 2-run home run. And that point, it's like the game's over. They're not scoring at that point. The little momentum that the Rays got was immediately squandered right then and there. And again, it was a fastball. And, the White Sox were sitting fastball first pitch, and they hit 2 home runs off it. I don't remember if it was either the first or second pitch where he hit the home run. In fact, I can go look. Oh my gosh, it was the 7th pitch. I guess I'm a casual. But anyway, it was on the fastball. And I'm not saying Shane Baz can never throw his fastball, but in that sequence, he threw 4 straight fastballs. In the Pittsburgh series, no team hit the fastball better coming out of the break than the White Sox. To throw 4 straight of them in that spot is just not ideal, to say the very least. But we'll get off Shane Baz. Hopefully, it's just an outlier starting. He can bounce back next time out because. Oh my goodness. Excuse me, guys. Because it's going to be against the Reds, and that's going to be a huge, huge series for the Rays. Now, let's talk about these injuries. Ha-Seong Kim leaves early. Diving back in the first one, he eventually would steal second. He was back tightened up, and the fact that he stole second and then kind of played a little bit, hopefully it's not too serious. It's when the game kind of got out of hand is when he stepped out. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he'll be okay. Then again, I was pessimistic about Brandon Lau not being okay, and Brandon Lau ended up, hopefully, fingers crossed, being okay. So hopefully best on that injury front for Kim. But, like I said, when you've played the lineup that the core of 7 guys that you thought you were going to have in the preseason by now, and they've only played 20 some innings together, it's tough. And it's a credit to Eric Nylander, the way that this roster is built from the majors all the way down to the complex league to be able to fill in guys to still be productive. So again, it's just not great, obviously, but hopefully, maybe Kim just misses tomorrow and he's back in Wednesday, or maybe it takes the 2 days in the series plus the off day and then is back for the Cincinnati series this weekend. But, it is frustrating is the word to describe it, because we saw the potential of this Rays lineup when it's fully healthy. There's not a guy that you can really take a night off with, and we haven't been able to see that. But let's take a look ahead to tomorrow's game. And you guys let me know in the comments. I was looking at this game for a while trying to see if the White Sox have announced a pitcher, because I do not believe that they have. And also how they still have not. But Drew Rasmussen is going for the Rays. He's finally back stretched out, so I'm eager to see if he'll go those 5 innings. Hopefully he does. But I also like how the White Sox were treating this like it was like a World Series game. They threw the righty, just those 3 batters, brought in the lefty up like 6-2. And credit to them, man. I mean, they've won 4 in a row. I would bet that this is one of the few times this season that the White Sox have won 4 in a row, because they're not a good team. They have 35 wins. I guess 37 now, 36 now. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, this is their longest winning streak of the year, and it's unfortunate it has to come at this time. But again, it's not the end of the world. You can't go in expecting to sweep a team. Like I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter and guys in local radio saying anything other than a sweep is disappointing. No, it's not. You need to win series. You don't need to sweep the White Sox. You need to win these last 2 games now. But you go 4-2 on this homestand. Again, everything we talked about for the Rays is still right in front of them. So it starts with scoring first, man. Outside the game where they put up 11 runs, the Rays have barely scored first the last handful of games. So I think that's going to be big going into tomorrow. But let's get to your guys' comments. We'll start with Jack's takes. He says, all I'm going to say that tomorrow has essentially become a must-win. Yeah, and it's even so tough. There's 60 games left, and I know I've been saying must win, must win, must win, but must win is a tricky word because if the Rays lose tomorrow, they can still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So in the sense, yes, the Rays need to win tomorrow. They can't lose a series to the White Sox, especially with the schedule they have upcoming. But Seattle is down 4-0, and the Red Sox lose today. So you haven't dropped a game. You're still going to be a game and a half back going tomorrow. So again, very it's optimistic on that front that the Rays did not lose any ground in the playoff race. So, again, we're allowed to be frustrated. It would be bad if we weren't frustrated in this game. It would be bad if we weren't frustrated the offense went 1 for 11 with runners to scoring position. It would be bad if we weren't frustrated that Shane Baz just frankly wasn't good tonight. But you still need to take a look back and say, okay, there are 60 games left, 59, whatever the number is. And the Rays are in a position to still make the playoffs. They're a game and a half back. If you told me before the season you have 60 games left and you're a game and a half back from a playoff spot, you take that every single time. I'm not worried about the division. I mean, the Rays are probably 7 games back in the division right now. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the wild card. If the Rays can get in, I still think they're built to win games in the postseason. If I'm a wild card team, let's say I'm the last division winner who has to play the last team in. Who would that be? Houston right now? If I'm Houston, I'm not loving potentially playing the Rays in a playoff series. Yeah, I'm just kind of putting that out there. So again, we're allowed to be frustrated this game. We should be frustrated, but grand scheme of things, it's going to all be okay. It's a missed opportunity. The Rays could have gained the game on them, but it's all right. But as we go to Gary, he says this is one stat that most concerns me going forward after this series. The Rays have 59 games remaining. 37 of them will be on the road. The Rays are going to be on the road for a long time. Yeah. They are, and it starts with that California trip. And I actually think I might be going to the game in Anaheim when they start that long trip. So, they go to Anaheim, Seattle, Sacramento, San Francisco. That's it is what it is. We knew that this part was coming. So that's why, again, I've been saying it's so important for the Rays to get out ahead now because you go to Cincinnati, who's desperate like the Rays. Then you go to 4 in New York. Say what you want, about New York. But in that series, you're probably going to have to face Max Fried, at least Carlos Rodon. And, the Rays have struggled with lefties, so you're looking just to split there. So the Rays need to win the last 2 games. And then, it would be very great for them to win 2 of them against. The first game of the New York series are going to face Max Fried. But again, after they go Warren and Stroman, when they should win those 2. But again, I don't want to look that far ahead, but I'm just putting that into perspective. Of what I think the Rays have to do to put themselves in a really good position to still make a run because it does not get easier at all after the series. Like I said, so they play the White Sox for 2 more, need to win those next 2. Play Cincinnati for 3. It'll be really good in this next little stretch. These next five games, if the Rays can rattle off a 4-1, you know what I mean? And then take 2 out of 4. And then with the Dodgers, you don't really know what to expect. And then this long road trip, you play 14 games. Or 3, 6, 9, 12. I really do not know how to count. You play 12 games. You're really hoping to go 6-6 during that stretch, right? Play 500 and then get back, and the schedule gets a little bit lighter. So, if the Rays has kind of got to survive here, and this is a good point here from Sarah Parker. I love them, but they frustrate me so bad. It's the same. I was really frustrated the first 3 innings. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad we didn't do a postcast after the first 3 innings because it would have been me yelling about how the Rays are the worst team in baseball, but. It's good to look at things from a broad point of view. And baseball is a beautiful sport. We get to watch our favorite team every single night. But there's still again looking at it from a broad view. It's okay to be frustrated with the loss today. You should be. It'd be bad if you wouldn't. But Rays didn't lose any ground in the wild card race. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. And the best thing about baseball, the Rays play tomorrow. Have a chance to bounce back tomorrow. And I think this team will play an inspired game tomorrow led behind Drew Rasmussen. My bad. All-star Drew Rasmussen. Put some respect on his name. So hopefully we will see you guys tomorrow after a Rays win. If you guys made it all the way to the end, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys same time tomorrow night.